There's growing concern among Lexington residents over a proposed expansion at Hanscom Airfield. The proposal by Massport would add 27 additional hangars to Hanscom. We spoke to Chris Elliott, chair of HVAC, the Hanscom Airfield Advisory Commission, who gives us Massport's reasoning behind the expansion and some concerns he has for the proposed plan as it sits now.
It's part of the larger aviation system in Massachusetts and nationally. So Bedford Airport serves as a reliever to Logan Airport. The Logan Airport is too busy. They've had runway incursions because it's so busy. So Massport wants to move the general aviation and private jet and corporate jet travel to Hanscom Field. So that's their goal here. They're also believe that there are too many ferry flights. There are empty flights coming to Hanscom Field to pick up passengers because they can't get hangar space at Hanscom Field. And so they believe that expanding the hangar space will reduce operations here. We don't know how many ferry flights really exist. We don't know how much of these hangar space would be taken up to reduce ferry flights, or if it would just create more demand because it's a nicer airport to fly your private jet in and out of. So that fact really changes the overall consequences. If it reduces operations because of reducing ferry flights, that would be a net positive. If it makes it a more attractive airport and increases jet flights, those have been a terrible problem. So the jets take off from the main runway directly over Great Meadows National Wildlife. And they fly, it's also adjacent to Minuteman National Park, which was where the first battle of the American Revolution took place. So there's very significant historic sites in the airspace around Hanscom Field. The people that give presentations at Minuteman Park say that some of their presentations are interrupted by airplanes, air noise. So that's a million people a year visit that national park. And we don't want to see more disruption from more aircraft. If truly the aircraft would be reduced by the reducing ferry flights, that would be a net positive. But we don't know the facts. This is a huge expansion, and I don't think that the basic data of what the consequences of this expansion were put on the table before they started building plans.
We also spoke with State Senator Mike Barrett. He shares some of his concerns, but also sees this as an opportunity for Massachusetts to be one of the leaders in expanding green aviation.
We've got a proposal here for 27 additional hangars, houses, if you will, garages for privately owned jets. So this would be a private business operating on the Hanscom civilian airstrip. Why is it destabilizing? Well, first of all, you've got about 270 landings and takeoffs every day out of Hanscom Civilian Airport right now. This could add as many as 190 additional. So you're talking about major traffic impacts and major noise impacts for Lexington because the planes land over our part of town, Lexington. That would be the northern and western part of the town. So that's a significant addition. But consider the climate impacts. You've got private jets are probably the single most destructive form of transportation currently used by humankind. They only take on average about 4 passengers per private jet. I do want to mention that the developers are insisting, without having presented any numbers so far, that this will be green enough. And what they're saying is that there's some jet travel currently happening at the airport that involves jets leaving the airport because the hangars don't exist there now after depositing passengers. So a jet, in theory, comes in, lets off some business travelers, and then the jet goes away empty and parks somewhere else. These so-called ferry flights, empty flights, would be eliminated, so goes the argument, if the jets could simply park themselves at Hanscom and wait until the end of the business day and fly people out. But you know, this is in theory only, because the developers coyly, cleverly made the argument but presented no data. They didn't present any data as to where the current drop-offs are happening at Hanscom. They didn't tell us where the jets go to sit out the day until they return at night. And they didn't make the distinction, critical in this case, between business travel and recreational travel. Well, we have a number of us are proposing an alternative to the developers and to Massport. We don't want to force private jet travel back to Logan because there is an environmental justice issue here. East Boston and Chelsea have absorbed a lot of environmental harm over the years due to increased traffic at Logan. So the idea isn't to be suburban and exclusionary here and to force the jets back into Boston. What we want instead is for the jets to stay here but be green. So Massport really needs to make good on its protestations of caring about the climate by helping us really pioneer here. And in so doing, we avoid pushing unwanted traffic back to Boston, but at the same time, we make it clean and green.
Massport declined our invitation for an interview, but sent us this statement. This project is in the very early stages. The developer's environmental review process recently started, and there will be ample opportunities for the community to participate.